Hello everyone, thank you for joining us once again for the I'll Try That podcast. Just the two of us again today, so...
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Exactly. Just two of us.
Exactly.
You and I.
You and I can't hold that note for too long. It's me and Joe. Richard, sadly not amongst us this time. What are we talking about today? So, first... Well, no, not first. Second, we're off to Surrey. Where are you from? Sorry. Where are you from? Oh, the old ones. Hogsback Brewery is our subject matter for this evening. We're going to have a little look at the offering from them. Prior to that, though, normal business resumed. We're going to go to Joe, and Joe's going to talk to us about Hot Topic. So, Joe, we're going back to a beer we talked about not that long ago, I think. We are
reinforcing. So, what did we talk about recently? We talked about Madri Excepcional, the beer, the Spanish beer, so-called Spanish beer that is taking the UK by storm. And we, in a podcast exclusive, broke out the trains of how this is not actually a Spanish beer. It's actually brewed in the UK, owned by Molson Coors, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I have been sent a very lovely article by my grandmother. Thank you very much, Grandma. From the Daily Telegraph, dated the Thursday, the 6th of June. So very recent, in their business section. And the title, How a British Brewery Faked the Soul of Madrid. Dun, dun, dun.
Didn't get anything past us, though, did they?
Well, that's it. So we beat the Daily Telegraph to the scoop, let's say, about a month beforehand, maybe 6 weeks.
I think they're really obviously hiring us in many ways. But have they pitched it as such? Are they saying that they're the ones who figured it out? Or is it just they are sort of retelling the story? Because also, I think there's been a few maybe get the suspicion about Madri these days.
Yes.
Maybe a few people have been out there and gone, Madri? And everyone goes, okay.
Yes. I don't think this is an industry secret. Let's put it this way. I think everyone in the industry knows full well what Molson Coors have done. And there's a lot of great, content within this Daily Telegraph article, of industry executives basically saying, I hate what they've done because it's been really successful, but I applaud them for their marketing genius, and so that's the kind of the sentiment that comes across. I think where we're coming from is that the people didn't know that you're duping the people and you are almost being duplicitous with the people. But yes, if you do a little bit of scratching under the surface as the people, you will quite quickly figure out that this is not, a quintessential Spanish beer as is being portrayed to you.
Mm-hmm. So in beer terms, it's a dick move, but it's a well-executed dick move.
Absolutely. And the fact that, sales is going, like, the UK people can't get enough, basically. The UK populace absolutely love this. So Molson Coors are claiming that supermarket purchases of the lager recently topped £100 million, rising from about £60 million in its first full year on sale, according to data company NIQ.
Flipping Nora.
So people might be a bit, feel it's a bit disingenuous, but they are really liking Madri.
I suppose if you are a Madri fan and someone comes along and goes, that's not really Spanish beer, right? I think I might look at you a bit like this. So, for the listeners who can't see my face, that's a sort of kind of futile indifference, basically, that was meant to be on my face.
It's as if trying to have the conversation of like, that isn't Foster's, isn't really it isn't really Australian.
Yeah. Not many of us drinkers put it down and go, you're joking. It does tally, though, in the sense that I feel like I want to check my notes on this as well. But I think it is brewed in the UK in Burton-on-Trent, where Carling was brewed originally, which, again, whether you like the stat or not, Carling, most popular beer in the UK. Well, it certainly used to be for a very, very long time.
Carling and Foster's change interchangeably between who's number 1 and 2. But yes, exactly. It's like one of the most popular beers in the UK. But you're right. I think they actually brewed on the same plant as Carling, by Molson. It's owned by Molson Coors. Both of those brands are owned by Molson Coors, Madri and Carling. So that's where it's brewed. And so Molson Coors, you have to think, how are Molson Coors even defending this, given that it's brewed in the UK, it's made specifically for the UK palate? How can they even justify that this is a Spanish beer? Blah, blah, blah. Do you want to give and we gave a bit of we weren't entirely sure on exactly how they're making the link. We just got the scoop that it isn't a Spanish beer, right? So what do you think is Molson Coors' justification for why this actually is they are allowed to call this a Spanish beer?
I don't know. I'm sure maybe we did this in the original episode or possibly since, but I'm sure we just said they sort of put their fingers in their ears and did a Scrooge McDuck dive into the pile of money and have a swim around sort of thing. I'm trying to go back and remember exactly what we mentioned when we talked about Madri last time. I know they said there was the man on the front was like the Madridista. Was it? Did they claim that the recipe was someone who walked through Madrid once also liked beer? And they go, yeah, it was his recipe that we used, or something like that. Or
So the guy on the front is depicts the 19th century
spirit of
chalapo,
Madrid.
the style associated with the Spanish capital, but the bottle features the phrase El Hambre de Madrid, the soul of Madrid. But yes, so basically they say their justification for this is that they bought a small brewer and they make this beer in collaboration with said brewer called La Sagra, a small craft brewer based outside of Toledo that they acquired back in 2017. So basically they've taken this, and we talked about this before, this brand does exist in the Madrid area. Mm-hmm. And we'd found that one pub or like tap room that this brewer owned that had like a load of different Madri things and it had the same kind of style of like kind of packaging. Whereas like Molson Coors, when it came to the UK, just ramped it up to 11 basically and really went ham home on like, this brand is Spanish in Madrid, you know.
in my head, it's like a boardroom with 12 men, 45 plus in suits, pointing at like a really, really old little artisan Spanish brewer chap who only speaks Spanish and doesn't speak English, and they've just gone, money, yes, and he goes, yeah, cool, and then they can just say to the rest of the world, we're with him. That's how we made it a nice, you know, not artisanal, but you know, authentic Spanish beer.
I'm going to give you. I want to give you a quiz now. Okay.
Blimey,
so this is from the Daily Mail Telegraph. Sorry, not Daily Mail. God forbid. The Daily Telegraph article.
Telegraph's bad enough.
Dear. And
separate note on their absolutely bonkers editorial pieces. That's another podcast anyway. Sorry, go on, give us the quiz.
That's our other podcast, which doesn't get many listeners, if I'm quite honest.
Must be up to about 12 separate side podcasts we've got on at the moment that existed in our heads for one imaginary episode. Sorry, you got me quite excited with the mention of the quiz.
Right. Yes. So it's called 5 so-called world beers, in quotation marks, and where they are actually brewed. Now, Matthew, I'm going to give you a guide on this. All of these beers are brewed in the UK. What I want from you, because you're going to find that out pretty quickly as soon as you start making a couple of guesses and the answer comes back as the UK. So I'm going to give you that. So for each 5 of these, I want you to tell me where in the UK you think they're brewed.
Oh, okay. That's tricky.
Okay. So, San Miguel. And we've featured San Miguel before, obviously originally from Manila. But where in the UK...
not Spain.
Where do you think in the UK it is brewed?
We talked about it and I can't remember.
Give us your first guess.
Can I have all of the questions?
No, the question is just different beer. It's same question, just insert different beer here.
Yeah, I want you to tell me all of the beers before I decide what my answers are.
Okay.
But it's, for San Miguel, I don't know, my heart went to Manchester and then London. But
okay, give us one. What do you think?
I'll give you... I'll do my final answers when I've heard all the beers.
This is my quiz. You don't get to make up the rules of your... Okay, fine. Okay, well, let's go. Let's do it, okay? No, because you might change your answers. It's not good for anyone else.
Yeah, it's not going to be somewhere big like that because the macro beers, as we call them, aren't in big city centres, are they? They're like, as I said, Carling and Madri, Burton on Trent. I don't know with Madri. I'm going to say I don't know. I'm going to say it's near.
I'm going to give you a clue.
Oh, yeah, thank you, please.
This location will feature again at a later date. So maybe okay. Let me give you all five. Then let me go back to your original request. Let me give you all five,
good. Yeah.
and then you can do. And I will tell you 2 locations come up are the same for 2 beers. Okay, so as in 4 beers share 2 locations. Okay.
Yes.
So
there's a third.
San Miguel.
Yeah.
Beer Moretti. Corona.
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
Oh.
And Beck's.
And Beck's. Oh.
So you're actually looking for only 3 locations in the UK where those beers are brewed.
I'm gonna stick with Burton-on-Trent. I'm sure some of them are going to be brewed in Burton-on-Trent.
Okay, none of those are Burton-on-Trent.
Oh, sod off. I've forgotten the names of any of the. Well, there is one in London, isn't there? That does some of those. I'm sure.
I'll give you a clue. London is not in this list.
Okay. I'm going to be so upset when I don't get any of these. I don't know why I wanted to say that St Austell's was
in Cornwall.
Did someone's brewing for them?
They are a big brewer, but it's none of these. Not the answer we're looking for. However, you put it in your Irish
Swansea.
accent.
I'm just.
I will give you a point for Wales. It's the wrong place within Wales, but
Cardiff.
Bangor, Wales. Yeah, Bangor, Wales. That is where you have Beck's and Corona produced.
Crikey. Well, yeah, I wouldn't have got that.
Because that's a massive AB and Bev plant.
Yes.
Bangor, Wales.
Is there one in East Anglia, like Norwich Way or something like that?
Oh, you're quite... Northampton?
Yeah, I'll have that.
Okay.
That's more the Midlands. Yeah, I knew it began with a Nor.
You basically said it, you know?
Yeah.
So San Miguel and... and
oh yeah, I know.
Brooklyn
I even know where
are
produced.
Where
it is as well. Yeah, okay.
Are produced there, and so I'm looking for one last. Yeah,
there's got to be one up north somewhere.
It is up north.
Tyneside.
It's further north. It's a bit further to the right of Tyneside.
Oh
no, hang on. Tyneside is. Hang on, maybe I've got my geography wrong. Is that Liverpool?
No, Tyneside's Newcastle. Merseyside's
so
Liverpool.
Further south.
Further south of.
Tyneside.
Not Sunderland.
No.
My geography's gone out of the bloody... I'm getting a map up to help me with this. South... hurry map. South of Tyneside or south of Merseyside? Middlesbrough.
Right, it's south...
That's not what they sound
no,
like.
Not Middlesbrough
at all.
It's south of Tyneside, and it's east of Merseyside.
Oh, it should be. Somewhere near Leeds?
Further south.
Sheffield?
Further south.
It's way south of Tyneside then.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
We're getting our mixed descriptions of what up north is. Just south of Sheffield. Manchester. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're not south of Sheffield then?
Oh, maybe my geography's wrong with that one as well.
And my earlier guess of Manchester, which was the first of my guesses, there you go.
Okay.
This has gone on way longer than it should have done. It is east of Liverpool, though. So I'll give you that.
So, thankfully, the mainstream media are catching up with the hot topics of the I'll Try That podcast eventually. Yes. But well done, and thank you very much, Grandma, for sending me the article.
Oh, blimey, that was only a hot topic. We've got to talk about Hog's back now.
Yes.
Crikey.
I'm sure the listeners are itching with bated breath or waiting with bated breath for this.
Hog's back. Who did I get these guys mixed up with?
You're going to have to help me with that one.
Actually, I think I was getting these guys...
Who did I think they were?
Yeah, which brewery is this not? I think I was getting them mixed up with Thirsty Ferret.
Oh,
You know
that's the one that near Drabbers, isn't Badger?
Yeah,
the Badger
people.
Brewery.
Yeah. Thirsty Ferret is one of the Badger Brewery options.
Yeah, they're near Drabbers, and he loves them, and I also like them as well. I made a very nice Guinness cake with their oat milk stout once.
Oh, lovely. I think because it has that kind of like really nice natural hoppy kind of green colour with the colour scheme, but they're not like that at all. And actually, I had to do a double take because I saw you could get some of their beers in. They look like cider to me, those bottles, with the sort of...
you put your finger
like a
through
growler or something.
Yes. Yeah, they are growlers, aren't they?
And also when they're called...
the official name?
Possibly, I'm not sure. I've seen something like that called a growler before.
They're called snorters and snifters.
Anyway, something like that. A growler is also something else.
This has got to be Hogsback's take on growlers, like different sizes. So basically, their 1 3/4 pint is called a snifter, and their 3.5 pinter is called a snorter. So that must be their version of different sizing of growlers. Yeah, which I love.
It's also the way that's presented. I think maybe it's just the pig connection. I was like, that's cider, isn't it? But no, it's like they are like classic Matt's type of ale, really, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yes.
Although I don't know why there's something about them makes me also think that Rich would be a fan too. But I believe the whole idea with Hogsback is that it's the blend of old and new, right?
Yes.
It's traditional beer, sustainably brewed, and just with a bit of a modern twist, I think.
Yeah, I mean, a 1992 started brewery, so that's not that old. A family-owned brewery off the back of a farm, as you'd imagine. Hogsback quite literally has got a hog, i.e. a pig, with a farm on its back. That is their logo, and it is exactly as it says. They go real hard on this pig, in the fact of how it's used everywhere, in their design and in their branding as well. Not to mention the names of their beers, like really go into it. I mean, we've already talked about the names of their growlers, having snorters, snifters, to do with pigs. So I was gifted the business. That is their 6-pack of bottles, beers, which include the Tongham Tea, 4.2% traditional English ale, which is named after the village that they've called home since the start. Which is their bread and butter, by the way. If they had like a staple beer, the Tongham Tea is the one that's like traditional English ale. That's their like main one. Hop Garden Gold, refreshing golden ale. The Gardener's Tipple, thirst quenching bitter. The Surrey Nirvana, which is their showstopper. I'm going to put that out there. Their Surrey Nirvana. If you're going to have one of these beers, get the Surrey Nirvana. It's brilliant. That's their session IPA.
So is it Surrey Nirvana, or because I think that's a bit of a nod.
I keep saying Nevada, don't I?
Possibly, yeah, because it is like Sierra. Yeah, see.
Yes, Surrey Nirvana. Oh, I get what
I'm sure they knew what they were doing there. Yeah.
Yes. And you're right, it's their take on a session IPA, which is actually very good. The Rip Snorter, which is a ruby bitter, and the OTT, the Old Tongham Tasty Black Beer, which I am having right now, which
the
is
Old
their
Tongham
6%.
Tasty. That's easy to wrap your mouth around.
Old Tongham Tasty.
Sorry, a 6%. What style was it?
A tasty black beer, which I can't say I've ever had a tasty black beer before.
Doesn't come up very often, does it? I'm sure I've sort of had heard about them. There's not many people going down that route. Is that quite a bitter, almost like a mild
so a black beer is a dark lager that originated in Germany. It is an opaque black colour with hints of chocolate or coffee notes and is generally around 5%. This one, 60%, and is similar to stout that is made from roasted malt, which gives it its dark colour. But it is a lager, not a stout.
Strong, weak, not weak, but
malty.
Malty. I was going to say malt.
Roasted malts are really coming through. It's got that kind of, I guess,
fruitcake beer.
If you would be all like Cicerone about it, you could say, I'm getting notes of chocolate and the deep roasted, but actually it's very malty. It's got that kind of like, it's something roasted basically. And
a little caramelly type of
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
We'd pair this really lovely with a hint of jasmine.
Christmas pudding.
Yes, basically.
For me, it's
You're
like
right.
a saurine beer. The really, really malty ones. It was just stupid because I don't really like saurine, but I do quite like the malty beers, so I'm just a hypocrite.
But yes, so I liked, looking back through all of these, that I've had all of them now, and I must say I quite enjoyed the Tongham tea, but only I think because you have to kind of like it because it's their staple, like traditional English ale. It's kind of the one that they put their name behind. Personally, I really love the Surrey Nirvana. I thought that was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them, I can't really remember them, if I'm quite honest, which doesn't bode well given I had the Hop Garden Gold just before trying this OTT. And yeah, the fact that this beer went down and just was a bit like, okay, that's a pretty good, beer. None of these were gross. Let's put it that way. They were all really nice beers.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, really, really is a strong word. They were all nice beers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I get what you were saying at the start, that they're trying to take old styles of beers, put it through a new, more modern twist. And I think I got that through these beers.
Yeah, and I think they have been churning out a few more crafty options as well. So I'm having a look around. You can get a passion fruit pale.
Ooh.
And there is a hazy IPA, sort of canned kind of stuff rather than
Bottles.
Yeah,
Right.
real bad. But Little Swine, their alcohol-free option, won a load of prizes. Seba Gold 2024.
Nice.
Bottle and Can
Small
Gold
Independent
2024.
Brewers Association.
Indeed. Always a fan of acronyms here on the I'll Try That podcast. European Beer Challenge Gold 2024.
Nice.
So their credentials are there. I was curious, they've got a beer called Utopia as well, which is, I think, their 30th anniversary beer as well, which is a kind of more robust, shall we say, 6% version of that original. So, yeah, there's a few to try and have a go on, basically. How did you come across these guys? Sorry, you were sent them as a gift?
So my wife went there as part of her work on the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, which is organised by the Movember Foundation, which is basically a load of motorbike enthusiasts dress up in their finest dapper gear and then drive around together. And it happens all over the country once a year. Yeah. And one of these events that she went to started off in Guildford and ended up at the Hogsback Brewery in Surrey.
Yeah.
Because obviously Guildford's in Surrey. So yes, so she brought me back a 6-pack because she knew I obviously like beer. And I asked her to, and, and it was really interesting. And I think as an entry to, as a gifting experience, I think very, very enjoyable. I enjoyed all of these. I mean, 6 500 milliliter bottles. You're definitely not going to drink these in one go. That forces you to obviously pace this out naturally. So yeah, I think this has been about a month. I want to say I've got through these, which is a good pacing. A bottle once a week, something like that. 2 bottles a week.
Big time. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I think we also mentioned at the start that we said 1992 they started, and we said that they're not brand new. They're not quite what you call an old brewery yet. They're in it's sort of a weird kind of nether zone between the two, because I suppose if you do the number of breweries that exist now, I suppose there's almost like an exponential growth from post 2008, shall we say. And they're probably weirdly like quite close to the middle, being sort of 30 years old. There's not that many that have been around for loads of them have been around sort of decades, and then a few odd breweries that have done hundreds and hundreds of years. So I find they're quite an interesting one for us to have a look at because of that part of the brewery life cycle, I guess, that they're in. But I've unfortunately not been able to source these, but I'm tempted to try now. I imagine, actually, having a little ride through the Surrey Hills and then ending up at Hogsback is a very enjoyable way to spend an afternoon, particularly now we're in sort of June time. But no, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for them because they're not.
Well, you can
too
buy them
readily
all
available
direct.
where I've
You
seen
can get them
yeah.
online, and with a small amount of shipping, you can get them delivered to your front door. So they do, UK courier. So if you're based in the UK, you can definitely get a hogs back anywhere, anytime you'd like to.
Chance would be a fine thing. Splendid. Should we do the numbers?
Yes. So on Instagram, they have 11.2k followers, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, they have 14.3k followers.
We're very diligent calling it X. I'd have given up on that a while ago.
It's just because if you ever go on Twitter now, or X, you are slammed with the fact that this is now called X.
Yes.
And they've even managed to change the masthead to be x.com, which I didn't realise that they had done that.
I quite like, you can still, if you go twitter.com, it takes you to X. So it knows what you're on about.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
If it were me,
they clearly
I'll try
wanted
and
to keep
hammer
people.
that. Yeah, I'll try and hammer that name home. Like, no, you're not going there if you're calling it that. That's, again, another podcast.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe, Rich,
Barber,
and Simo.
Goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
I'll try that podcast.com.
and watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.